Bucking, bucking like a mechanical bull. Bucking, wow, bucking. A good night, like money is full. Look at that horse, look at that horse, look at that horse. CFL, all natural, dining on arse. Bucking, whoa, bucking. A good night, whoa, yeah. Patience is thin, your hormones is right at the rim. It was just going in, fuck it, do it again. AOTY, I ain't win. I ain't stunting about them. Say that shit on the trend, come back and fuck up the pen. Say the things that I know will offend. Wear that shit that I know start a trend. Take the Bugatti out for the spin. Ain't no top, feel a win on my skin. Ooh, spit something thin. They listen to them. They fight every once and again, but it gets stomped on when we bucking, roll, bucking, like a mechanical bull, bucking, roll, bucking. A good night, flow and the money is full. Look at that horse, look at that horse, look at that horse. I'm pretty as hell, all natural, and on horse. Bucking, roll, bucking. They think you can change, promise the things that they can't. You the man of the bank, is you is or you ain't. Hit the runway, I'm lit. I got pictures to paint. It's in my DNA. Look at my mama, to say the things that I know will offend. Wear that shit that I know start a trend. Say that Bugatti out for the spin. Ain't no time to feel a win on my skin. Bucking, like a mechanical bull.
What up, y'all? What up? This is Ashley. You are tuned in to 400 Degrees of Erotic Funk, a live version of it here on YouTube. Of course, under Performance Temple. Bitch, what a fucking week. I gotta watch my cuss words because YouTube also be trying to censor. So, whatever. What's up, y'all? There's a little bit of a lag. So if you can hear me, go ahead and type I hear you in the chat. If you can't hear me, let me know that. Otherwise, I will keep the yap going. All right, first things first, let's set some rules up in this house, right? Right. Everything that I'm going to show today is commentary, opinion, critique, and media that may not necessarily be mine, but I will be giving it insight, using it for educational purposes. And I can do that under the copyright disclaimer section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Okay, I will be transforming this word to one of my favorite Black radicals, Dr. Jared Ball. And in the tradition of Dr. Jared Ball, yeah, you gonna hear my mouth. Yes, let's do that. So, man, so much stuff has happened. I feel like since maybe it was been boiling up since the end of last year, within different sections of poll, whether you poll by yourself at home, you poll with a virtual studio, virtual community, or you poll in a studio. Like, I feel like there's just so many different sections of poll, which I'm actually grateful for. But I feel like a lot of times, intersect does happen, and also like the globalization of poll through social media and different communities being in different places at different times, like it can kind of feel like we are in a time warp, or that like there are just different portals where different realities and truths exist. And 400 Degrees of Erotic Funk is all about sort of pulling on the threads of reality to see what is real and what it ain't. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if y'all saw the post that I made recently, basically being like, hey, yeah, I'm really here for the burning down of the things and the separation of what's real and what's fake. And hopefully this helps you to make informed decisions and also to critically think for yourselves through the things and through the media that you see. Because as we talk about our first topic, which is this TikTok ban or not ban or collusion or allegedly the collusion of these people in power with tech and money, you'll start to see that like people be manufacturing reality. Okay, so let's actually get into this like supposed TikTok ban. So last night around, I don't fucking know, I was outside, which I don't be outside, but I was outside. I was scrolling my little phone or whatever, and I got a little alert. And the alert was like, yeah, girl, you can't scroll on TikTok no more. And I was like, what's excuse me? And this is from Phil Lewis, who is a journalist over on Blue Sky right now. He's a journalist in real life also. And this was a statement from TikTok. In agreement with our service providers, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. Well, this today, actually. Yeah, last night there was a thing saying basically the US government don't want us here. Fuck y'all, we out. And they turned off the app for United States users, right? So today, at some random point, maybe 12 to 20 hours before or after they had went black, they came back and with this statement basically sucking on rumps, you know what, being like, because he said what he said, we're going to reinstate the app. Now mind you, I don't need to show y'all the receipts. I put them in my stories on Instagram, that President Rump is the person who actually made it so that the ban could even exist. But yet and still here we are with this platform yanking him off for his efforts to restore TikTok. Now, if y'all don't see what's going on here with all of that, I don't know. I don't know if y'all eyebrows are not like sticking up and being like, that's weird, that's suspicious. Word to Cardi B. Like, we need to have some conversations now. In addition to all of that was happening, um something else happened specifically to me personally with a social media platform, and it was I was I was penalized on Instagram for encouraging exual activities. If you need to know what that word is, then I suggest you use your imagination, because YouTube also has a bit of censoring when it comes to word usage on their platform. So if you hear me using very wonky, funky terms, it's because I am in observance of those censoring bots that are picking up on certain words, certain terms and language. Okay. So yeah, so let's take a look at what I posted, and I'll give you a little insight into what had happened. Okay. So boom, shaka laka 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 laka. Right. So Instagram was like, I posted a story in promotion of the upcoming LCN ERA, we're gonna say that ERA release party, and it had some very salacious photos, right, because they're very obscene, considerably explicit, some soft core, yeah, very soft core. um and Insta was like, oh no girl, you encouraging sexual activities and that's against our terms and conditions. And hey, you got me. Bam, hands up, guilty. I do absolutely encourage sexual activities. So I'm guilty. So they put me in jail. They put me in Instagram jail. They were like, yeah, you can't send no messages. Yeah, you can't go live on our platform. Yeah, you can't do all this other stuff that you normally do. And there's a strike against your account. So I was like, all right. And I made this statement. I know in the past, within um people who use the pole, whether they do it recreationally, whether they do it semi-professionally, whether they do it professionally, or whether they do it for work or labor, people who are around a pole have been, when I say been, I mean been speaking about the censorship that Instagram specifically enacts against people who are around a pole, specifically ones who are a little bit more sexual than others. Okay. And so this is nothing new to me. When you agree in this age, in the year of our Lord 2025, to be on Instagram, you agree to their terms and conditions. And from my knowledge, it has already been brought up to the teams over at Meta about their contradictory and sometimes erroneous and sort of egregious ways to determine what is actual activity and what is not. This all these things have been brought up to them, and they have said, given certain statements that I wish I could pull up right now, but I have the sources. I will cite them. I will put them in the description at the end of this video. Because there are people who have actually been in contact and have been doing this sort of digital groundwork, right? Um, and trying to be active in action against these sort of censorships of what they believe to be their First Amendment rights. And so, from my perspective, in the year of our Lord 2025, them people don't give a flying flippity F. They don't give a flying flippity F. They're gonna do what they want to do with their platform, and because it's quote unquote free, um, and they own our data, they can make whatever decisions they want to make. They could completely take your platform, and what you gonna do about it? Nothing. Cry, bitch, advocate, do the things that we already do. Okay. That's not to say that no less it's not violent and it's not hurtful and like could absolutely hurt your bottom line. For those 3 or 4 days that I was in Instagram jail, completely psychological mindfuck. But again, I own me. Meta owns my data. So in the meantime, between time, the rallying point, or excuse me, another word actually, the activists action activating point to rally around is not that Meta should change the way that they conduct themselves, because it's very clear to me Meta is an oligarchy that seems to have gotten so big that you can't boss them around. And its users have gotten so conveniently accustomed to the way in which we interact on that platform that there is no sort of negotiating with Meta, because I think they have a little bit more bargaining power than we do. So what do you do? What do we do from an active standpoint? Well, you strategize around it. And that's all I can really say about that without giving too much away on the internet for free. You strategize around it. You strategize around them. You use them. You take what they give you. You use them. So that's about really all I can say. Okay, so let's go to some more activating, triggering, maybe topics that I kind of came across this week. In the spirit of citing sources, I am going to mention this. Do I like that I am going to mention it? Hell no. Just let me be clear. But I think in order to be as this is the most impartial part, because everything else is going to be biased, because I straight up don't like this person. So everything after this is biased. This is the part that's impartial. So I laid eyes on the Gentrification of Twerk symposium conducted by Bam Rose this week. And while I was in attendance, I took a lot of notes. I bounced out early because I was just disenchanted and exhausted from the presentation, primarily because there were a lot of points where I agreed, and then there were points where the arguments were so exhausting that I couldn't even stand to make a point. But I'm going to do so today on this public platform that is YouTube, and sort of kind of in a pretty little bow, or maybe an ugly one, because I don't really give a fuck about if it's pretty or not. Kind of state my disagreements, my critiques. So here's one. Without giving Bam's full presentation away, because Bam has that presentation, and if you would like to see it, you go over there and ask, and whatever those terms and conditions are for accessing it, you abide by that, right? However, whether you do that militantly or not, that's on you. But this thing about policing recreationalists and also policing other eggs workers, um, requiring identification, requiring validation, requiring um or asking or requesting that people who are recreationalists and who do not do work with a pole for labor put their profiles on private or stand in solidarity in ways that actually censor their First Amendment. Um, that is a hard, slippery slope for your girl. Very hard, slippery slope for your girl, because I think for me, there's a distinction between ethnic culture and labor culture. What do I mean? For example, a Black woman, African American. Shit, I don't know what really my ethnicity is beyond African American, because all four of my grandparents are Black as fuck and from the South. And so I don't know what country I come from except from America. So so that's all I got ethnically, right? But labor wise, if I was to be, say, a school teacher, um that would be my labor culture. There are certain practices, traditions, rituals that come along with being a teacher, right? So you got ethnic culture and you have labor culture, right? The two exist. They can be mutually exclusive and they also intersect. And so I think sometimes we misalign, misname, mislabel, and sort of get fucked up political identities and identity politics with labor cultures, ethnic cultures, and how to respect them all as separate, but also as they intersect. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of contradiction, which I'm fine with contradiction and cognitive dissonance. I'm fine with double consciousness, because obviously being a Black person in America, you just deal with double consciousness. If you are a marginalized group, if you are a part of some sort of political identity that has been oppressed in the past in this country by the dominant culture, then yes, you deal with double consciousness. I'm not going to educate y'all on what that is, because there's a library. But look it up, double consciousness. So we all deal with that, but I think that sometimes, because of we got to make money, we got to survive, those become our talking points, and those talking points get muddled with personal grievances, and then those personal grievances become like community issues when they really are one-on-one personal like beefs. And that's okay. You gonna have beefs. Not everybody gonna like you. I don't like everybody. But hey, that's how it works. When there are much larger things, i.e., the exploitation of people's labor and the violence against people who work in labor fields that are undesirable, and people who are forced into labor fields because of their situations and conditions, which could be a lot. So, right. So, I think that was my first sort of disagreement point, where I was like, yeah. No, that's a slippery slope for me to want to um, condemn or police people who are recreationally around a pole versus people who are not, and then to require validation and sort of verification of one's work. Um, Especially in a field like X work, right, okay. Other things, and I I got notes. Other things that I felt like not so much. There are people who are creating certifications, that have certifications, that are giving certifications out of ethnic, cultural, or their personal property, their personal IP, their intellectual property, right? And I think it becomes a slippery slope when we are starting to condemn people for creating certain certifications and not actually critiquing the reasons why they have to create certain certifications, or critically analyzing why do people create certifications. Yeah, I think I think we should I think we should do that. I think we should be asking these questions. Why do people create certain certifications? If you ever want to be certified, I want you to ask, why do I want this certification? And why has this person created it? The answers to those questions will be your points of, is this in alignment for me or is this not? Is this fugazi or is this not? What's the impact here? I don't give a fuck about the intent, because people intend to do a lot of things, but the impact could be completely different. Also, there was a statement made in the presentation about feelings over facts, and that is again a slippery slope. Slippery slope, because as my oracle Dana Knuckles says, revolution begins in the body, and to be disconnected from the affection of your body, to feel things in your body, how things make you feel, you are disconnected from your reality and not being honest about the way things make you feel. Now, again, slippery slope when we're considering facts, because everyone's affections are different. Everyone's level of how they're affected is different. So, again, slippery slopes. And I think that we should not think in terms of absolutes or binaries. That's my personal opinion, but I think that we should be asking questions beyond those binaries and absolutes. Okay, that's enough on that. Didn't have any sort of visual to give y'all, because that is BAM's intellectual property. And again, if you would like to see, hear that from the direct source, I would encourage you to make a plan to figure that out for yourself. Whether you do that militantly or legitly, that's on you. Anyway, so other things that have been going on that have either been pissing me off, or that just like I'm like, I think we need another. I think we need another angle on this. Oh God, let's talk about hoochies, y'all. I am going to play a video from my good worker in this bond that we call critical analysis, creativity, art. They are a filmmaker. They are an eggs worker. And they had some a call in for a public figure, public personality who has been historically archiving and bringing awareness to hoochies. I'm going to play this video. This is from their channel. And then we're going to talk. This creator's name is Made for Whole House on TikTok.
Because why Shorty blocked me simply because I said, as a hoochie historian, archivist, whatever the fuck you want to consider yourself, your work is deeply informed by the hoes. And how I know she know that is because when you go to her Instagram page and she need 90s, early 2000s ass inspo pics and shit, guess who's a part of that little carousel? The hoes. As a matter of fact, she's paid homage to the hoes, trans hoes included. But now all of a sudden you insulted because somebody mistakenly considered you a part of 304 Talk. Now you want to talk about it's not derived from sex. Are you daft, you stupid ass bitch?
I'm sorry. The reason I am not going to particularly show the creator that is in critique here and sort of being smoked on in this video is because I would like to call more attention to Made for Whole House than I would the creator that is being talked about here. And let me tell you why. Made for Whole House actually hit me up on Instagram and was like, yo, sis, I know you do a lot of work with you know, analyzing things, actually breaking things down, like in a lot of community stuff. And they were like, I just wanted to let you know this is going on. And I was like, what? Because I you know, I really was like, yeah, let's talk about it. I really was like, I love that. I love the media that this person is creating, like bringing awareness to hoochie things. Like, I'm a hoochie. My aunties were hoochies. Like, that's good stuff to me. So I get to digging. I find the root of the cause. And the root of the cause is a 8.5 by 11 letter person referred to the creator as related them to being a 304. If you don't know what 304 is, yeah, get to the search bar. The and so they were offended that a person associated them with the 304. Now, mind you, hoochie is in the name of their platform, and people in the comments were very critical. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for the education for the folk. So yeah, a 304 is that a garden tool. And so her supporters were very defensive of her, which, hey, if my ride or dies don't ride or die for me, I don't know. I don't know. But if you're gonna ride or die for me and punch other people down while you're doing it and it's not personal, like, I'm gonna have to call, we're gonna have to have a little conversation, because you can't be punching other people down when it's not personal. You feel me? So who they were punching down were the garden tools, the actual 304s. And I have a problem with it. I have an issue with this. Why do I have an issue with this? I have an issue with this because hoochies and hoes go together. They were sisters. Okay? They were sisters. Can you be a hoochie without being a hoe? Yes. However, most of the aesthetic that hoochies are known for in popular culture and in mainstream media come from Black hoes. Asterisk, underline, Black trans hoes. Okay. So it bothered my spirit that someone whose platform is built on the the aesthetics of hoochies and the mainstream pop culture of what a hoochie is and was, did not enlighten that comment section to the ways in which being in defense of her, but also punching down 304s could be or is and is just not cool. It's lame. It's whack. Just whack. Whack. Not to mention, again, when I said that I wanted to make sure that I highlighted the person that made the call in and not the person with the platform, I'm doing this for a reason. And it's because when I shared my concern to the creator gave me a lot of credence. They gave me some respect. When this creator tried to create a call out, call in, start a situation, they were not greeted with the same response. They actually were blocked. Now, again, people can do whatever they want to do. Y'all know how I feel about a block. Y'all know how I feel about a block. Y'all know how I feel about a block. However, I think upon further interrogation on the level of offense and possibly the affection of status and credibility being questioned by a person with a smaller following and a person unlike myself, like on TikTok, I have about 30,000 followers. So I think that there are a lot of respectability politics that go into who's worthy of a response, who's worthy of doing bringing enlightenment to people, who's worthy of spreading knowledge, right? And it's not about how intelligent one is, it's not about how charismatic one is, it's not about how they can package and put together things in a presentation. I think for me, it's very disappointing to see when people flip narratives, because that's what the Hoochie platform did. They flipped the narrative to try to make it seem like this person was obsessed, that this person was mentally ill, that this person was beneath them, and looking for clout. And I've been in situations where that is true, but this one wasn't. And I can say that with my full ass chest. This wasn't one of those type of situations. So, what does this situation bring to my mind, and what notes did I have about this? What it brings to my mind is that when you become, or when you make yourself into a public figure and you create presentations, you're creating like historical points of reference, it's really important to know that history is asynchronous and that it intersects lots of things at the same time. And so when you're giving presentations, when you are spearheading activism, when you are sitting in the seat of sort of leading people into knowledge or wisdom, teaching them of something of some sort, like the responsibility that comes along with that. And I'm not talking about like you having to relinquish your privacy. I'm talking about responsibility. The responsibility that comes along with that, but also the type of shit that comes out of your mouth when someone has a critique for you. Like, we can't be putting that shit on community. Either we gonna squabble up personally and have a heart to heart, or we gonna duke it out personally, or as a community, you're going to be considerate of the intersectionality that exists within whatever section, area, arena, position that you are stating. That's all I got on that. Whew. All right, we done reached the like 30-minute mark. I'm not here to hold y'all long. In the chat, if you want to use the chat, please feel free. I just want to say that this is not one of those like, oh, Ashley's just about to lecture us and talk. No. Questions, you can put them in the chat. I'll answer them. We just chilling. We just yapping. Right. Okay. So last thing, and then I don't know what's gonna happen because all of this is off the top of the dome. Very much freestyle. Today, I don't know why people are big mad, y'all, but it would seem allegedly that people are big mad, and let's talk about it. Okay, So this came across my desk. I don't follow this person, but this came across my desk today. And it came across my desk at a time where LCN is promoting a show party in February. Let me remove this watermark so that we can read it together. Says, let's talk about this. Post comes from I'm Black Garnett, by the way. Make sure I cite my sources here. It says, let's talk about it. I'm seeing all these showcases charging $60 plus for standing. I go hard for my Halloween parties. If you have ever been to one, you understand why I charge $50 plus, and I offer plenty than what's offered at most showcases. And that's why, girl, what that word is, it's long, hard hours put into just the decor. So please don't come to me about prices this 2025. If you can't afford it, just say that. Don't try to minimize or compare my events because you missing out. The fuck. All right. So this is real sneaky for me because you don't know people's motivations and you don't know their intents. However, I suspect that one of the triggering offerings is the LCN release party, and I do not take kindly to passive aggressive threats or passive aggressive shade, even though I'm petty like that too. Actually, I'm not petty like that. I'm actually directly petty. But I'm not above being petty at all. So, but I don't take kindly to stuff like this where the critique is of a showcase having $60 tickets or $60 or more tickets for standing room. And their defense or argument is that when they do events and they charge what they charge in 2025, that other people should not complain. And I agree. You charge what you charge, baby. You should charge what you charge. However, and I said this, I don't know who I said this to the other day, but I said, along with charging what you charge comes the risk that people will not pay it. Not because you valued it at that, but because they don't. And if someone doesn't value what it is that you do at the price that you put it, then that, like, either you get into the marketing lab and you come up with a marketing strategy to persuade them, or it just is what it is. And you can't compete where you can't compare. And I don't mean to say that in a comparison way. I mean to say that in a way where we have talked about this in Body View before. It's called unequal economy, which is a play on unequal desires, which is a play on the reality that the economy is, there's inequality in the economy for whatever reasons people have, whether they be rooted in all type of isms, obias, biases, projections, whatever the bias, whatever the reasons are, desire is not dealt out equally. I got to deal with it. Everybody has to contend with it. When I post a fucking $85 workshop and motherfuckers don't want to buy it and don't show up, I got to swallow that and be like, but my price is my price. Right? And I understand everybody trying to make a living. It's hard right now. But the real issue is not what other people are pricing their stuff at. The real issue is your government allowing corporations to exploit people for their labor and not pay them what they're worth. So when people come to the table and they want to be like, well, why does your class cost this much? Why does your workshop? Why does your show? Why does your showcase? Why da? You can create all the features that you want to, bake in all of the like bells and whistles that you want to, but if someone does not value the way that you value, there's unless you put money into a marketing campaign, which most of us don't really have. We ain't got that type of money to like be creating marketing campaigns like these corporations do to persuade and change emotion around a product or a service. But if you got it like that, you could absolutely persuade people to think differently about valuing what it is that you do. But for most of us who are independent, that's not a reality for us. And so the enemy is not the person who is charging more. The enemies are the people that are charging less. I mean, if you want to think about it like that. Because we all should be getting paid what we are worth. But the reality is that we not. We just not. So I take special exception and I do take offense to people who would see the pricing of LCN events, the pricing of LCN workshops, the pricing of LCN rentals, the pricing of my workshops, the pricing of my events, the pricing of, what I got going on, the pricing of the things that my crew has going on, the people that I am closely affiliated with in the bond, and take issue because of the economy. It's not about for me, and I can only speak for me. I can't speak for I'm Black Garnett when they say if you can't afford it, just say that. I can't my opinion is if you can't afford it, come talk to me. That's me. Ashley, not LCN, Ashley. Come talk to me. Now, the answer might be maybe not this time. But I think that to just relegate like brokenness to people and to not really call out the real issue, which is that most people's labor is getting exploited. I mean, hey, that's a misstep in sort of the line of thinking of being critical about why people are doing what they're doing. Right. But in that same vein, since we here and we about to reach that 45-minute mark, yeah, LCN is throwing a party. February 14th through 16th. The show is on Saturday. Here are the tickets. General seating, full frontal splash zone, and general admission standing. And as you can see, that general admission price right there. So I'm pretty sure that was some shade thrown at LCN. So that sucks. But hey, what you gonna do but come tell the truth? That's all you can do. Tell the truth, right? Tell the truth. Okay. So with that sort of shameless plug out the way, I think where I'm landing at with a lot of this stuff is, there are personal beefs. Like when you don't like somebody or when you just don't like what they stand for, you don't like what they do, you don't like how they do it. And I think that that's okay. Like being honest about that is okay. Man, I don't like the way so and so does things. I don't like the way they do things. I'm gonna do it differently. And just doing it differently and staying away from them. That's an option. But also, like, for all intents and purposes of people who claim to be community oriented, who claim to want to support certain things, who set ground rules. By the way, if you set a ground rule, this is just activism, radicalness 101. If you set a ground rule, you too have to abide by that ground rule. Right? So when y'all come up in Ashley spaces and Ashley is like, I'm not nice all the time, and I might contradict myself, and you know, if I'm wrong, say something. I mean those things. I absolutely mean when I say I am working outside of colonial boundaries. So when I'm in critique of X work, that doesn't mean I am against X work, right? As a former X worker, I can't be, right? So when I'm in critique of people, pole fit, pole, whatever, however they want to identify, like, that doesn't mean fitness components don't enter into my space, because it all intersects, right? We're kind of circling back to the beginning of this live and the things that I said at the beginning of this live. I just want us to be very critical this year and to not let the emotional roller coasters, because there's going to be a lot of them. Hell, based on that whole TikTok situation, the next 4 years going to be manufactured emotional roller coasters. Don't crash out, man. And if you crash out, accept the consequences of the crash out. Don't try to make it nobody else's problem, because the issue is we all are working with problems, and there are people that are working with problems that are way bigger than what's going around that motherfucking pole. Like, straight the fuck up. Like, I'm seeing posts about people who are crowdfunding for their fucking relocations. Meanwhile, I know people who need money because they're facing evictions. And that's not to say that both people are not deserving of mutual aid. I think it's just to say that, like, that is an indication of where we are. Like, we are in the motherfucking sunken place. The fact that I have to come on here and give critique about and talk about the intersectionality of hoochie and hoe, like, what the hell? I feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone. It's a lot. But you get to discern. Everybody makes mistakes. You get to learn from who you want to learn from. You get to choose, albeit your choices are manufactured for you sometimes by the algorithms. Albeit information is manufactured to you sometimes by the algorithms. But I just think that I would like to offer you all a critical lens on some of these hot topics and tools for questioning not people's privacies, not people's inner lives, but questioning whether or not what you're being sold is fugazi or for real, whether or not the intent is malicious, whether or not the impact is malicious, whether or not, like, accepting a generalized idea when it trickles down to the bottom, like what that means for the folks at the bottom. Yeah. So yeah, I've reached like I'm over my 45-minute mark. But if you have comments, concerns, questions, hey, reach out to me, hit me in the DMs. Y'all know where to find me. This has been a live freestyle of 400 Degreez of Erotic Funk with your girl Ashley from Performance Temple. And I hope to see y'all in February or some other time when we probably gonna do another creation night. Wasp's Nest is coming up, and that's about to be spicy. I got some crew members that are doing some really great things. Please, please, please refer to my stories, refer to my feed if you want to know what's going on. Sign up for the mailers. There's so many fucking mailers. Sign up for the mailers. Take care of yourselves. All right. All right. Peace. But like Jared Ball says, only if you're willing to struggle for it.